What's up? We're rocking. So Scream 6 is up the bat. We're walking through all the Scream movies leading up to Scream 7. I have seen it. I have seen Scream 7. I'm going to save my thoughts on it for the next review. Wanted to get through this one first. But yeah, that one is coming. So I have seen Scream 7. But let's talk about Scream 6. But before I get into it, while you're here, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Join the pack, bro. We ball. What's up? So Scream 6 released in 2023. The first Scream movie that does not feature Sidney Prescott. Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Let's talk about it. So I'm going to get into my positives and negatives. And guys, these are just things that I liked with the film and things that I disliked with the film. These reviews are not meant to be an objective breakdown of every single thing that was technically good with the film or every single thing that was technically flawed with the film. These are just my subjective thoughts about what I liked with the movies and what I didn't like with the movies. So you guys are more than welcome to disagree with me, share your thoughts, what you liked with these movies, what you didn't like with the film. That's all this is. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt, if you will. But yeah, so what I liked with Scream 6, there are a lot of positives here for me. I do really like the opening with Scream 6. I like that it was kind of creative and new and original. Like, we hadn't really seen an opening sequence where we have a Ghostface killer be killed by another Ghostface killer. Kind of interesting. I liked it. You know, we had this Ghostface who meets up with this girl who I guess he met on a dating website. Go figure. And ends up leaving her pushing up daisies in the back of an alley. And then he goes back to his apartment and he ends up getting RIP'd by another Ghostface. So I thought that was kind of cool and different. And I like the fact that his death, like that opening sequence, wasn't just a waste of 15 minutes of screen time. I cannot speak today. Screen time. There we go. Words, Clayton. Because he was friends with Tara. And so his death kind of commences her plot and her story. So it wasn't like some of the prior Scream movies where that whole opening sequence doesn't really play any direct impact on the plot or the story. This one did, and I like that they did that. I also liked, speaking of Tara, I liked Tara in this one. I liked her sister Sam. I liked that they explored and kind of developed their sister relationship more. I think the two actors have really good chemistry together. I can see why they were really close in real life, and that comes across on screen, in my opinion. So I think they're both really strong central characters, and I think they pick up the mantle really well and really fluidly. I liked, and I actually did like that we didn't have Sidney Prescott in this film. As crazy as that sounds, because I love Sidney Prescott. I've gone on record saying that Sidney is my favorite final girl in horror. She is. But as much as I love Sidney, I'm also glad that this movie moved on without her and didn't have her in this film, because let's face it, she's not going to be around forever. Okay. So I think it's only appropriate that this franchise pays it forward to a new generation of characters and actors to pick up the mantle. Scream is a malleable franchise. You can do a lot of different things with it. You don't need the same cast, the same crew, the same characters in every single film. So I liked that they weren't trying to play into yesteryears and bring Sydney back again to kind of steal more spotlight from, Sam and Tara. To me, that just screams, no pun intended, that you're not confident enough with this new set of characters to fully move on. So I like that they did that. As much as I love Sydney, and I do, I'm glad that this was really Sam and Tara's film. So that was a big positive for me. I liked the pacing and the development of the plot along the way. I thought it moved really well. There were maybe some tension building scenes that were maybe stretched out a bit too long. But as far as how the plot was developed throughout, I think it was developed naturally. I think the pacing was good. I don't think they spent too much time with any one subplot or moment. I thought it kind of moved along pretty fluidly, pretty naturally, and I liked it. I thought it had a good pacing and good development of the plot along the way. I also liked the commentary in this film about moving on and about letting go. We have Tara who actually tells that to Sam multiple times in this movie. Sam, you have to let me go. Like she's telling her to let me go. We have that dialogue multiple times in this movie, and that's a consistent theme throughout the film, even with the fact that Sydney is not in this movie. That kind of goes back to what I was saying and how this film really explores that theme and that concept of letting go. We as the audience are forced to let go of Sydney as a final girl in this movie and move on with a new cast of characters. And Tara is telling Sam to learn to move on and let her live her own life. And in the final act, we see that again, her telling Sam to let her go so that she can learn to defend for herself. So that theme of letting go, moving on, is persistent throughout this film. I think it's handled well. Even Sam, with her internal plot that she's dealing with, has to come to the point where she forces herself to let go of her past and what haunts her, of Billy Loomis as her dad and the trauma that he projected onto her. She has to let that go. She's struggling with that internal plot that she has to learn to let go of. So I like that they had a clear theme that was persistent all the way through the film. That was something that I did enjoy. I thought the movie had good moments of tension throughout it, where I felt like the direction was good as far as feeling that tension and that sense of dread kind of closing in on you. I thought there's some good moments of that. I liked the motives by the Ghostface killers in this one as well, that also kind of play into that theme of letting go. The fact that Sam and Tara, our protagonists, are the ones that did learn to let go. They're the heroes. They're the ones that survived this journey. The family of Sam's boyfriend from part 5, they're the ones that couldn't let go of their past. They're the ones that couldn't let go of the pain that they felt. And in doing so, it ends up being the death of them. It ends up being what takes their life and kills them ultimately. Even as they're trying to inflict that pain onto Sam and Tara and their friends, because they couldn't let go of their past and of their trauma, that pain and that trauma end up killing them. Again, kind of harmonizing and rhyming with the theme throughout the film. I like that this movie did that. It was thematically clear. And I like the fact that we had 3 Ghostface killers. Again, something new, something different, something you didn't expect. I didn't expect it the first time I saw it. I was thinking there was 2 Ghostface killers. So getting 3, again, that's different. It kind of is unpredictable in that sense. The motives, again, made sense. It's another revenge story. They're trying to get payback on Sam and Tara. For them killing their son and their brother, much like Sydney in Scream 2 was dealing with that same plot device with Billy's mother, trying to get revenge for killing her son. So again, this film harmonizes with other films in the franchise as well. So I thought it did a number of cool things thematically. And I did like seeing Billy Loomis again, kind of as that voice, that haunting voice, within Sam, that killer, that's down deep in there, that she's wrestling with. Again, Billy Loomis is my favorite, Ghostface. So I always like seeing him in the film. As far as negatives, there are still some things that I wasn't a fan of. One of them being Gale. Gale has always kind of been my least favorite of the main original Scream cast. Her, Dewey, Sydney, Randy for the first 2 movies, Cotton even for the first 3 movies. Like, out of all of them, Gale was always kind of my least favorite. To me, I feel like she has the least amount of arc throughout these films. And in a lot of the films, she's playing the same type of character every time. And quite frankly, I felt in this one like she needed to be RIP'd. I'm sorry, if that upsets any Gale fans out there. To me, she had to go in this one. So the fact that she survives again, I felt the exhaustion there as a viewer. Like, dude, she's got to be RIP'd at this point. Like, let's move on from Gale. She didn't really add anything to this film. Plot wise, she didn't really move the plot, drive the plot forward at all. She didn't really play any crucial part with the story. She didn't directly affect any of the characters or their decisions. Like, you take Gale out of this film, nothing really changes, and she's the one constant character that it comes back in this film from the prior films, and yet she's, in my opinion, the least interesting and the one that you don't need to bring back again. So wasn't a fan of her showing up in this one. Wasn't a fan of her surviving another Ghostface attack. Can we move on from Gale at this point? I'm sorry, but like, she has very little development. She just plays that a kind of annoying reporter type of character in almost every one of these. So I was ready to move on from her. Mindy, although I like the character of Mindy, I wasn't a fan of how she was used in this film. I didn't feel like she really had anything important to do other than just give, the Randy type of monologue, other than the monologue scene where she's, again, just explaining rules of a franchise. She didn't really have much to do in this film. Like, she didn't directly impact any of the characters or their decisions, really. She was just kind of there as a returning character and to give the one exposition monologue scene. It's just like, I like the character. I think she's funny. I think she has good energy on screen. I like the character, her personality and stuff. I like her, she's a good friend. But I just didn't feel like she was given much to do in this film. I would have liked to have her play more of a direct impact on the story or directly impact the characters in some way. So that was it. That was a negative for me. I also felt like this film had a little too much plot armor. Really, I mean, there were just some things that were a little too much I thought, to buy. I felt like some of the characters, like Chad, ends up getting stabbed more times than, I mean, anybody in the franchise. Like the scene in the third act when he just gets hacked and just stabbed repeatedly, like, and yet survives. To me, it at this point, that's something that kind of made Dewey special in the original movies, was the fact that he was stabbed so many times and yet survived. That was part of his character, and that was part of what made him Dewey. But when we start doing that with all these other characters where they just get stabbed to the nth degree, like 20 billion times, and yet survive, it almost just seems like they can get stabbed however many times, but if the script still needs them to survive, they'll survive. Other characters can get stabbed once and die. There's just no consistency there. It just feels like too much plot armor, too much. It's like, well, the script needs them to survive, they'll survive, but we can still stab them, 20,000 times. And I felt it in this film. I really started to feel it in this film, because I feel like this one really pushed that. Like, there were a number of characters that get stabbed repeatedly multiple times and still survive, and then other characters that just get stabbed once and die. So yeah, it felt like a little too much plot armor for me. And we have another third plot monologue by the Ghostface with the last kill attempt that just gets a little too repetitive, a little too like uncreative. We don't need a Ghostface monologue at the end of every one of these Scream movies where he reveals his grand plot and motive and come on, can we do something new at this point? If I was a Ghostface killer, I would even spend time giving a monologue speech to Sydney or Sam or Tara. I would just kill them. That's what you want. You want to kill them, just kill them. Don't stand there and explain everything again. It just, again, 6 movies in, and we're doing the same thing in the third act in every one of these movies. It's like, can you please give me something new at this point? So that was a big negative for me, just the lack of anything new. 6 movies into the third plot. I have to deduct some points there, because it gets way too repetitive. I didn't feel like this movie had any great kills, really, in my opinion. There weren't really any memorable kills. I didn't care. I didn't think the dialogue was as cleverly written as it has been in prior Scream films. I don't know that the redirect was handled all that well. Sam's boyfriend guy was really creepy and really weird. Like, he was an obvious choice for a Ghostface. Yeah, I don't know. Something about him just doesn't sit right with me. So wasn't a fan of that character. The train scene that everyone loves, I thought was kind of wasted. Like, the fact that all these people are wearing Ghostface outfits in a train, but no one says anything. It just feels like everybody is being Ghostface nowadays. Again, more of that kind of plot armor that's just a little unnecessary, in my opinion. But that's it. Have some negatives, but overall, I do still really enjoy Scream 6. I'm gonna give Scream 6 a 3.5 star review. So there you go, guys. Those are my thoughts on Scream 6. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And until next time, you freaks, kick it. and rock on.